Hello, good morning. Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock to help small businesses like you. Now, if you have any questions, do ask them in the comments on the live feed. And if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Now, during the live session today, we'll be running a poll about you and public speaking to win business. So please do engage with the poll and I'll reveal the results at the end. So please get your questions in live this morning. I can answer as many as I possibly can about how you win business by speaking. Do you win business by speaking? If you do, great. If not, why not? You can ask me about conferences, about other opportunities that could help you to be more visible. So please get your questions in. How do you do it? How do you go about finding out how to do it? If you're nervous, if you're not sure about the topic that you could talk about, please get your questions in on the live feed this morning. But before we delve into your questions, just a little bit of background about how I became a speaker. So my background's actually broadcasting. I was a behind the scenes person. I was really uncomfortable to speak in public. In fact, if somebody said to me, public speaking, stand in front of an audience, I'd run a mile. It wasn't my natural place. And actually, speaking on camera like this wasn't necessarily my natural place either. So the good news is you can learn to do it. But the most important thing is that it is a game changer for your business when you learn how to do it well. I felt so passionate about my clients and helping them to do their public speaking. I wrote this book called Goodbye Glossophobia. So if you're tuning in this morning, later on, you'll get a link to the free audiobook. If you're interested in knowing how to do it, how to speak in public, you can have that completely for free by engaging with us this morning. So I was helping people like Boris Johnson, Theresa May. I remember David Cameron was Prime Minister when I was a live producer at the BBC many years ago. And I've learned from interviewing Hollywood stars like George Clooney, yes, Madonna, the Spice Girls, Samuel L. Jackson, Oasis, and any Brit pop group that was famous in the late 90s. I probably interviewed them, and I helped a lot of people to speak well when it was in a broadcasting situation. So I knew what to do. I could hold up a script. I could give them confidence. I was the person behind the glass or in the live studio saying, go on, shoulders back, get that voice out there, smile, make sure you've got more of a louder voice, using your cheeks, using all of the air in your chest, breathe, give me eye contact. I knew what to do. But when it came to me personally, I wasn't comfortable with all the eyes on me. But what I found since I left the BBC and I've set up my speaking business, I help people all over the world to speak. I help my clients, I help founders of businesses like you to go and speak at conferences. I help with speeches, I help them with their nerves, I help them with winning new business by attracting business. Because when you go to a conference or an event or a client drinks event or something, you can actually meet 100 people at the same time rather than just one at a time. One of my clients, Ryan, he's the founder of a digital business. He spends a lot of time in the Far East as well. He does quite a lot of his business online and in the camera or using a camera. But he told me, I really don't want to speak in public. I feel really uncomfortable with it. And I get most of my business through, referrals or speaking with people one-to-one. I said, but Ryan, when you're at a networking event and you're speaking with people and you're being referred to people one-to-one, you're having to kiss a lot of frogs. You have to, hello, how are you? And that's great to build those relationships. I think networking is a fantastic way to build your business. It's been really hard though. We've been locked down. Have you been networking? How have you found your new business contacts? How have you been cultivating your new business contacts? Because it's difficult when you're not going to drinks events and networking seminars and morning and breakfast and things like that. So my advice is try and get yourself on the speaking bill. So I was talking to Ryan about this and I said, Ryan, rather than kiss one frog at a time, how about kissing 200 frogs? Because when you're speaking, you're on the stage or you're on the Zoom or the Teams or you're at the virtual event or the real event, there's an auditorium, and there's 200 possible sign-ups, all there to listen to you and your expertise. That's like meeting 200 people intimately. If you linked in with those 200 people, that's 200 more connections. And some of those people will know people that are probably perfect for your business. They might need your business or want your business. And those 200 people can then refer you to the people that they know. So there's no downside really to being more visible and speaking in public for your business. It can be scary though. So one of my clients recently in Bristol, she's also a founder of a consultancy. Let's call her Clara. So Clara in Bristol, she told me, I really don't like speaking at events because it takes me so long I've got to write the speech. I can't sleep. It gives me, I don't feel comfortable with it. I feel nervous. It makes me feel sick. And then I have to get the slides. Then they ask me to send them the photograph and the slides. They ask me to send them, the blurb, technical term there from a broadcasting perspective, send the blurb, what's the paragraph that decides, what you're going to talk about. And I said to her, if you only speak very infrequently, like twice a year, so say if you have to pitch to investors, you will have a nightmare. If you're not frequently speaking, every time you speak, you'll be nervous and you'll have a nightmare. So in the last 2 weeks, I've been helping a couple of pitch teams as well, and they've had the same issue as Clara. I'm so scared. I've got to stand there. So my message is this: get good at speaking by speaking. So start small, go to small events. But the more that you speak, the more that you can pitch better. The more when someone says, could you say a few words at this, please? Could you be on the panel? You've got things ready. So my advice is get ready now. Start speaking, but start small. So a couple of tips: get kitted out. Get yourself a good suit. Think about what you're going to wear. Or if you're going to be doing it virtually, get yourself a good headshot. Get yourself a kind of media pack, so you kind of know the subjects that you could talk about. Get somebody to help you write the blurb. So you've got a photograph, you've got a paragraph of what you could talk about. You've got a couple of punchy headlines, like how to, and then whatever your small business, whatever your content is that's related to your business. It could be about law, it could be illegal, like how to deal with the new legal situation with Brexit or whatever it is. How to ... You've got stuff that you can share. You've got topics. If you're running a business, you've got stories. You've got loads of expertise that you could be sharing. So, but what you need is a toolkit ready. So when somebody says, can you speak at this event, or can you come and be on the panel? You've got a photograph, you know what you're talking about, or you've got a selection of topics. You've got a couple of nice punchy headlines or titles that you could talk about. You also just need to think about what you're going to look like. And it doesn't take that much effort really, just to think, like, hair, wardrobe, makeup, for men and for women, you need to look pretty sharp if you're going to be on a stage or in front of the camera. Just a really simple tip there, have something that's newly pressed or new. You tend to look more professional and go to a hair salon or to get somebody to do your hair. And then, of course, there's the preparation, and people think, I have to prepare. I've got to do a script. I've got to learn a script. But you know what? You don't have to learn a whole script. Once you start speaking and you're speaking about a topic that you know about, you don't need a word for word script like an actor. You're not an actor. You're a business person. You've got expertise. It's about giving yourself permission to talk freely, to talk authentically about your business. So my main tip there is, don't worry too much about being too scripted. However, if you really do need a script the first time that you speak or you pitch. So one of my pitch teams recently, they had to have their pitch in a 5-minute time frame. It was much better for them to use a script, because they could put all the things in that they really wanted to put in that 5-minute window. But the thing is, it was the practice that made them more confident. Practicing and doing it more regularly. That is the key. So please, if you've got questions about speaking, how do you do it? How do I write my script? How long should I prepare for? Should I have a script? Oh no, my mind's gone blank. any sort of question about speaking, please fire away. And I'm going to start with Dev on Instagram. Hello, Dev. How are you this morning? This is what Dev says. I've always been quite a naturally shy person. So the idea of speaking to a room full of people terrifies me. Any advice on how to deal with nerves beforehand? Dev, do you know what I found in my quest for helping my clients with their public speaking is that introverts and shy people actually make better public speakers than extroverts. And I'll tell you why. Quite often an extrovert would much prefer to do chit chat and in small groups or be part of a meeting. An extrovert is more likely to feed off the conversation. So when you put an extrovert on a stage in front of 200 people, an extrovert sometimes can get caught in the headlights. So there's good news there. If you're shy, but you're given the spotlight, there's absolutely no reason why you can't share your expertise. Being shy and speaking on a stage are two very different things. And I think what you'll find is once you start trying it, you'll find it a lot easier. When it says how to deal with nerves beforehand, the more you do, the less nervous you'll be. Get out there, feel the nerves, don't fight the nerves, breathe, and go for it. That's my best advice. So go on, Dev, go for it. Okay, Kelsey on Twitter. Hello, Kelsey. How are you this morning? Hey, Esther, what's the best way to end a talk or a pitch? I sometimes end up rambling until I stop. Kelsey, don't worry, you are normal. And Kelsey, I can imagine that you're probably the sort of person that starts with a big, this is my pitch, and a big opening. But quite often, it peters out towards the end because you're so enthusiastic that you just want to throw all of your passion into this pitch. And then sometimes the end, you need a lot of confidence to end well, actually. You need as much confidence to end as you do to start in the first place, Kelsey. So my advice to you is if you want a good finish, have an idea of how you're going to finish. So if in a pitch situation, if it's something like you're going to ask for money at the end, quite simply have your one little sentence that's going to finish off your pitch, which is probably the next step. So it could be something like, I'm here to ask for £2 million. Please join me on my journey to scale up my business. Thank you. Or have a call to action. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Here are my details. Log on to that. Thank you. See you next time. Simply a thank you or a see you next time or a please give me £2 million. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Would be really good. Have a good ending. I think it's important to have somewhere to go at the end, Kelsey. Rambling until you stop, not a great strategy. Craig on Facebook Messenger. Hello, Craig. How are you this morning? Do you have any advice on how to identify the right networking or speaking opportunities? Okay, identifying the right opportunities. I often get invited to these sorts of things, but it's hard to tell which ones will be worthwhile in terms of drumming up business. Craig, I know. And you go to breakfasts and dinners and drinks events and golf days or whatever, or, playing cards, or, you're invited to a lot of networking events. Now, Craig, I know exactly what you mean because you're focused on your business. You want to win business. You don't want to waste your time. My advice is if you are practicing the speaking and just the whole idea of bringing speaking into your new business strategy, which I suggest you do, by the way, I think try out any to begin with. So as much as it's, I know that with business, you can't say yes to everything. But at the beginning, when you're trying the craft of speaking and you're getting comfortable with this standing in front of an audience, I would say yes to those things, but just try and not reinvent the wheel every time. Practice your pitch, practice telling your stories, practice sharing your expertise. Maybe you've got slides, maybe you haven't. Maybe practice with a script, the next time practice without. I would say go for them all initially to practice, and you'll soon find which ones are annoying or a waste of time. So just go for it. What have you got to lose? And if it's really taking up so much time, don't go to all of them, but think about the audience, who's going to be there. You never know who you might bump into. You never know who the other speakers might be. So as long as there's a couple of high profile people at the event or a couple of decision makers that might be useful to you, what's the harm? Go for it. Daryl on Twitter, direct message. Hello, Daryl. How are you this morning? You mentioned a speaking toolkit. Any recommendations on how long, in depth this should be, and who you should be sharing it with? Okay, so the toolkit, it's really a folder on your computer. This is how simple it is. When I mentioned a toolkit, I meant having all the resources ready. So when somebody says, can you speak at this event, you've actually got some stuff ready to rewrite or reversion for that particular event. So when you say how long in depth should it be? I mean, I think it would be really good, Daryl, to think, right, what's my subject? And start with one. You might have many subjects. It could be something like whatever your business is. I'd love to know, actually, when you're asking me these questions this morning, please feel free to put in your type of business, the nature of your business, because I could probably give you some more specific answers about if you're in law or maybe you're a plumber, whatever your business is. Find the topic that you are good at. It could be something simply like how to start your own business, something that's really quite generic that a lot of people would want to hear. A lot of people would want to hear your advice. So I would say just have a couple of really good headings. So you need a title for your topic. So if it's something, Daryl, like how to start a business from your kitchen table, I think there's a book about that. Hey, it's a good title. It might suit many thousands or possibly millions of people. What's your title? And what would you cover in that talk? So have a paragraph. This talks about the confidence, how to give up your job and start something new, how to just a few bullet points there. You definitely need a good headshot. Now listen, you need a good headshot for LinkedIn. You need a good headshot for your website. You need a good headshot on many occasions. And what I found as a speaker is that I'm asked for photographs very regularly. I also write a newsletter on a Friday, and I need materials, just photographs and images. So just start gathering your toolkit, images, photographs, maybe photographs for your topic. So you might even have a PowerPoint with some slides, some photographs of you as a child. It might be relevant, or you and your old boss, or maybe it's about leading a team or something. So you've got photographs of your team. So I think it's about gathering these tools, but not being too self-conscious about it. Just start gathering materials, because when somebody does ask you to speak, you've got them there ready, and you'll need them anyway. Alicia on Instagram, hello, how are you this morning? How do you prepare yourself for questions? I'm quite good at preparing myself for talks. You might be a plannerina type, Alicia, but I get flustered in the Q&A and I get caught out. So Alicia, when you're speaking, you're right. Some people prefer the speaking piece, whether you can plan, prepare, know your script, you're in total control. And some people prefer the Q&A, where it's not so planned and it's a bit more, some people feel that it's a bit more like a conversation, it's more natural. Personally, I'm more of a Q&A person. I like answering these questions because I like being able to work off the cuff. But it's not because I'm making it up. It's because I'm comfortable that I know the answers. I know I've got my expertise. I know what I'm talking about. So I would say when it comes to the Q&A, decide what your topic is. And there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to you, your journey, your business, your expertise, your eyes into the world, your point of view. There's no right or wrong. So I've got a really, really good safety net answer to any question. So if somebody asks you a question, this actually would be good for a pitch, be good for a meeting, but you're put on the spot. If people ask you a question, a really good answer starts something like this. In my experience, ... In my experience, cannot be wrong. So I think this is a confidence issue, Alicia. Be confident, trust yourself. You do have the answers. You don't have to know everything. That is a great tip. First of all, how could you possibly know everything about everything about everything? And also, when you said being caught out, you get flustered, you feel caught out, you feel caught out. The audience isn't trying to catch you out. It's very unlikely that the audience are actually out to get you, to make you feel flustered. The audience wants to know. They want you to share your expertise. So, and the reason why you're speaking is because you have expertise. Again, it's about getting out there and practicing. But don't worry about having to know everything, because you're not there to pass an exam. They're not there examining you. Let me see how much you know about the market. What are the figures? They're not there to give you an A+ or a 9 in GCSEs. You're not passing your GCSE exam. So it's about trusting yourself, trusting your own experience, taking a deep breath. This is a good practical tip in any sort of Q&A. You take a deep breath. The first thing you do when somebody asks you a question isn't jump in and answer. The first thing you do is breathe through your nose, smile, and then answer. And that 1 second makes a huge difference and helps you to look as if you are confident, you can handle the question, you don't look flustered, and you look as if you're relaxed and it's effortless. Even if you don't know the answer. In my experience, the answer to that question is this. You see how it works? Okay, Kwame. Hello, Kwame, Facebook Messenger. How are you this morning? I've been invited to be on a panel. Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Go for it. But I'm quite conscious about making sure I get my own time and landing what I want to say without speaking over others. Any tips for panel etiquette? Kwame, absolutely brilliant. I like that question because it's about you going on a panel. It's really important that you represent yourself. It's really important that you've got your right messages for your own business. You want to plug your business. You want people to know who you are. You want to come across as the thought leader. You want to come across as an expert. And you want to make sure that you are showcasing your business in the right light. However, Kwame, to be successful on a panel, my big tip for you, and if you are thinking about going on a panel, is generosity first. Always be generous first. What do I mean by that? First of all, you're saying, I'm conscious about my own time. So you're already thinking about yourself, which is fine. Of course you are, you're normal. That's great. However, if it comes across that you want, hang on a minute, I'm in the spotlight here. Listen to me. Well, my tip, my expertise, my business, in my view, me. If it looks as if you're hogging the limelight a little bit, you won't come across as well as if it looks as if you're sharing your knowledge and you're acknowledging the others. And you're acknowledging the audience. So a really good tip is to always give the other panelists and the audience a bit of attention first. So if other panelists are talking and you're like, oh, damn, they said the thing I was going to say. Damn, I want to have a go now. The best strategy is always be generous first. And this is a little tip that I actually gave Boris Johnson when he was Mayor of London and I was a senior producer at the BBC. I said to Boris Johnson, always love your audience a little bit more than yourself. Give first, take second. So for example, on a panel, somebody says, well, in my business, I found that the post-lockdown, I found there's more growth because we've been agile or whatever. And then if you wanted to say that, you thought, damn, I wanted to say that. You say to your fellow panelist, well, and then use their name. Well, Henry, I'll just use the name Henry for now. Well, Henry, that's a really interesting point you've made because I really agree with you. I'm going to second what Henry says there, or Claire, or, I don't want to be sexist here. I'm going to second what Claire says. I'm going to second Claire's comment because Claire, you're absolutely right about the post-COVID opportunities. What I found is, and give them some some generosity first, or give the audience something, give the audience. So what I'd like to share with you first is this little gift of a tip that I'm going to give you. Generosity first, then it makes you look good. Rather than you trying to shoehorn, oh, let me just say this, and by the way, my services are, my products are, we have a new product. That won't engage the audience. And you're in danger of trying to kind of shoehorn your products and services. You're in danger of kind of alienating yourself. It's that simple. Give, then take. Good luck, Kwame. Go for it and do as many as you possibly can. Lou on Instagram direct message. What are the key similarities or differences between speaking or appearing on a broadcast television versus in person at conferences? And what can we learn from this? So what are the, hi Lou, how are you? By the way, we've got a couple of minutes left, literally a couple of minutes. If you want to get some questions in, get them in right now on all of the different channels, the Facebook channels, the live feed. I've literally got 2 more minutes. I'd love to answer as many questions as I can. I'm also happy to answer them afterwards. If you want to contact me via LinkedIn, please feel free to do so. But Lou, what are the similarities or differences between speaking or appearing on broadcast television versus in person at conferences? And what can we learn from this? Okay, obviously there are differences because when you're working on television, the whole thing, or whether it's a webcast or it's a virtual conference where you've got a camera, the difference is you have to work the camera. That is the main difference. You still have to look good. You have to know what you're saying. You still got to prep. However, that is your focus. So when you are in a broadcast situation or a virtual hybrid situation, make sure you work your camera. You love the camera. In terms of prep, in terms of your topic, in terms of your clothes, hair, wardrobe, makeup, yes, please. In terms of your presence and standing well, taking that deep breath, smiling, they're quite similar techniques. My biggest tip for public speaking and working on camera is this. Imagine that you are actually speaking to one person. When you speak to one, even if there's 1,000 people in the auditorium or you're on a broadcast and there's 1 million people tuning in, if your script and your attitude is really about an intimate relationship with one person, that is how you can be successful at winning your audience over. Speak to one. And another little tip there is, and also speak to a loved one. So you really have an affectionate relationship with them. And that makes a huge difference. Now, our final question before we go on to our poll, I'm going to reveal the poll today because we asked you about if you speak for business. I'm going to be looking at the poll in a moment. Sarah on Facebook, final question. I've got a couple of minutes here. I've never been quite good at the bit after the networking events where you follow up with the people you've met. What's the best etiquette when it comes to this? And what if you don't want business from someone? How do you let them down gently? So Sarah, what you're saying there is how do you dump with dignity? So how do you follow up? Because you're absolutely right, Sarah. When you speak at an event, how do you follow up? A really good strategy to start with would be to try and link in with people, because LinkedIn, they can follow you, they can look at your articles, you can get them, you can if you really wanted to get to know them more, you can get their email or whatever, and you can start to get to know them via LinkedIn. And it's quite a good platform because it's neutral ground, so you don't have to let anybody down. You know, if you want to contact them, you can, and you have to commit yourself. So I would say LinkedIn is a really, really good strategy. Definitely link in or get people's details. So quite often if I'm speaking at an event, I'll give away something for free. So today you're going to get my free audiobook. If you give something for free, then they're connected to you because they're giving you their email address. Because if you don't connect with somebody via LinkedIn or get their email, you may not ever see them again. So it's really important that you do connect, Sarah. Don't worry about letting people down. Worry about linking in or connecting with people first. Now the poll results are in. How often do people speak in public about? How often do you speak in public about your business? 50% of you said all the time. Great. Hardly anyone is speaking occasionally, but 50% said never. That's interesting. So you're either one way or the other, all the time or never. My advice is the 50% that said you never speak for business. Do it, try it. Honestly, you will be so much, you can connect with people much more efficiently, and the more you do, the easier it gets, and then you get much better at things like pitching when it really counts and you really got to bring it on. You will be well prepped. At the moment, if you're asked to speak or pitch, because you haven't done it, it's a real worry. You've got to learn all these skills from scratch, and it'd be so much better if you already had some of these materials, photographs, and some prep already there under your belt. Okay, so thank you so much for coming to the end now. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for engaging today. It's been really, really interesting. I love your questions today. Good luck if you are going to go on a panel. Go on then, Kwame, go for it. Please do search for me on LinkedIn. I'd love to link in with you, or you can direct message me as well, Esther Stanhope. Now, coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow, you have Clive Rich. He's a lawyer, he's a professional negotiator, and he's the founder of Law Byte, a law tech business making legal advice accessible to SMEs like you. So tune in to find out 10 things that you and your business are entitled to from your lawyer. And a reminder, if you need more advice, do join the Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, because accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning. Have a great day and enjoy Clive tomorrow. Thank you.